G'day, it's Oscar here from Drones for Hire. Today we're going to run through Terra. So once you've been out mapping with your mapping drone, be it an M3 series drone or any other mapping drone, we're going to take those images, put them through Terra, do some photogrammetry, and then create a prescription spray area perhaps, and export a 3D flight path. We're going to do that today. It's a little bit more of a drier subject, nothing too exciting with the flying and that sort of thing, but it gives us some real power to utilize the T40 or any other spray drone, agri spray drone, to its maximum ability and maximum automation. First thing you're going to want to do is get your images onto your hard drive. So here we're in our SD card, just going to select them and copy them onto your hard drive. And then pop them into wherever you want on your hard drive, and this will mean that you're not trying to pull them off the SD card, and there's not that extra step in the processing. It speeds it up. Pop them into there like so. Now we don't need to do that today. I've already brought in the images, so I'll shut that down and we'll open up Terra. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is simply go into new mission. You want to choose visible light, and you want to name what this reconstruction is going to be. Now I like to put in an FT for fruit tree or an F for field. The difference between the two are simply put, your field is going to give you more like a waypoint based flight plan, whereas your fruit trees, you're going to have the ability to create that three-dimensional flight plan with your Z-axis in there, so you're getting the height of the drone and where the drone needs to be to avoid obstacles and that sort of thing. A field mission is very similar to just doing a route plan mission on your RC, and except that you get to do that on Terra with that real-time imagery that you might have collected from a mapping drone like your M3 series, which is going to get a lot more area done faster and give you a better accurate map. So still quite useful, the field missions, the field reconstructions, but doesn't give you quite the power that the fruit tree does. But the fruit tree processing takes longer and is more intensive. So just give this a name, and I'm gonna give it the FT for fruit tree. There we go. So that's just some little markers for me. Stony Creek's the name of the paddock. It's in the middle of the paddock on the western side, and we're in fruit tree mode. So it's just abbreviations that I use so that I can kind of keep track of things. Okay, so this is where you're going to get now if you've gone into a new mission. You see up here on the left hand side you can go through regular or satellite. We're going to click across the satellite, and then we're going to add our folder that we're going to be using today. So there's our two folders. Click on both of them and select folders. Now you see down the bottom it's importing the images. We don't have a heap of images today. 1,364. So we did this mapping at a fairly low height. We're at 40 meters high to try and get really good resolution, because we want to really target in on specific plant species. We're chasing serrated tussock today. And you're going to select high, you're going to select fruit tree, standalone computation. The advanced settings, there's nothing really you need to add there. And that's about it. Once you've got the camera info ticked off there, you're just going to go start reconstruction, and Terra's going to stitch all those pictures together. Little check that we've got everything we want. We do, so we're going to click OK. Now this will take some time. I'll speed it up in a second. While it starts running that, I can just show you a few little features quickly. So the main thing I want to show you is the different resolutions that you're going to get from different heights. So okay, this one here, we did this at 110 or 120 meters high, and if we zoom in on the ute here, you can see the resolution. You know, it's clear that there's a ute there. You've got the RTK base station up here. This is the generator, solar panel on the back of the box. So you can see basic structures there. Now if we go into another map here, so this one is about 60 meters height. Okay, you see the resolution of the ute now really starting to come out. You can tell the cap on top of the generator. You can start to make out some lines on the solar panel. Things are looking a little bit clearer. And you got to remember, every time you halve your height for mapping, you're going to have 4 times the photos. So 4 times the photos taken, 4 times the processing speed, 4 times long to actually get the mapping done. And then the final one I'm going to show you was done at 30 meters. This was done, we were mapping the yard site for some expansions, so you can start to see the resolution there is getting really, really good. Like that's me standing next to Ute with the remote controller for the M3M. That generator, you know, fairly obvious there, not much pixelation. You can zoom down in on your plants. Like you can start to pick out your serrated tussocks sort of individually now. There's another one there. Same with you know, the fence posts and that sort of thing. Alright, we'll check back in our reconstruction. It's coming along, 5.9% done. So you can see here the photos that have been taken. So each one of those white circles is one photo that the drone's taken. It was on timed interval here, so we're cruising through every second from memory on this one. Every time it takes one of those photos, it's recording the GPS data, so the positioning, including the RTK error corrections recorded on there. So we get exact position of the drone, and we also get a written on that file is what the gimbal's doing. So the Terra knows the direction the gimbal's facing and can use that to really nail in which way it's facing and helps it create that 3D model. Our reconstruction's now complete, so we're going to move on to, first of all, having a look at our working area and assessing where we're going to spray, and then after that we're going to create our 3D flight path. We're just doing a tiny little area today that we're going to go out and spray tomorrow. It's on some very steep terrain and rocky, impassable. First thing we're going to look at quickly is our calibration point. So you can see here, this is what we've marked in the ground. It's just a little bit of paint and a witch's hat to mark where we'll calibrate the T40 for this working zone. As we talked about, if you've watched the M3M mapping video, you need that calibration point in order to get your offset rectified before you start your spray mission. Alright, so we're going to scroll down here on the right hand side to agricultural applications. Click on that. We're going to name this. Okay, you can see here the AI has had a bit of a go at trying to get what we want. Remember, this fruit tree setting is designed for getting fruit trees, so it's going to pick out the red stuff is what they call poles. Usually this will be dead trees, or if we click off the displayed results here, yeah, they see go dead tree or at least defoliage trees, and then depending on your working area will depend what this purple is. It's fruit trees. You can see in the key down here. If you've got a nice flat pasture and you've got some, say, really tall thistles or Bathurst burrs, another good one, within your working area, and you've taken no images of any trees, then the thistles will often come up as the fruit trees, the target areas. The AI is getting better fast, but at this point we're having to go in and modify our results to suit what we want. So I'm going to click on modify results here, and then that allows us to go and make whatever we want. So the first thing we want to do is kind of clear this space. Accidentally clicked on save there. Okay, so we hold down control and it brings up our brush. There we go, and we can just wipe this area of all of those AI created sections. Then we can go in and do our modifications. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is your spray areas. Okay, you want to finish with your obstacles and that kind of thing. So you can see these rocky areas is where we're going to start our spraying. Bring that brush size down a little bit. We're chasing this serrated tussock here. Now if I hold down Alt, it's going to get rid of those results. This is what they call display results. So if I hold down Alt, you see here it's toggling off display results. It's a great thing to be able to just quickly do if you want to get a bit better view of your target species or your target areas to identify what you want to spray. Down this side. Okay, so that's the areas that I want to be spraying today. Get down and get this stuff too, actually. There we go. Now we can go through and we can add obstacles. So buildings are in the yellow. There'll be areas where the aircraft won't spray, but will just fly over and carry on. So if we were to create a little area within our flight area like this, the aircraft will fly over that, but it won't spray it. Now if we were to put in one of the red ones, a pole, the aircraft will fly around it and not spray it, but it will avoid it. So great for poles, especially make sure you remember to include your guide posts for your poles, like on your power poles. Just going to take that yellow bit out. Now I've selected these dead trees because the radar's, if it's going to struggle on anything, it's going to be on the dead trees. So I'm just going to exclude them to save hassles. And then you've got your ground and your water. So we're going to save those results. Okay, now we're going to select our working area. So just create your polygon around 3 points minimum, just like you would on a normal route mission. I'm just going to go back in now and I'm going to put these trees in as obstacles so that when we get into the field we don't have to worry too much about avoiding them. The shadow can throw you for trees, for example. It makes it look like it's quite a large area, but it's not. So just be mindful of that. There we go. Okay, now we're going to put in our calibration point. Like we talked about before, you need to have your calibration point so that you get your map orientated. So imagine when you're doing your flight path and then you create your auto mosaic. It's kind of like you've got an overhead sheet projector, clear sheet, and you've drawn your map over top of another map. Okay, whenever we come into the field to use that map, that flight path that we've drawn on that clear overhead projector sheet, we need to reorientate it true to earth, because we pulled it out of the bag and we sort of set it down ready to fly, but we don't know if it's orientated right. Now the direction's fine. It'll do that through using the compass and the RTK to create that really accurate direction, but its actual position true to earth is not quite certain. We've got that GPS error of between 1 to sort of 6 meters. So we use the calibration point just to bring that relative map that we've created and lay it over true to earth. Now Terra won't let you fly unless you've got a calibration point. If you're using an exported map from Terra into your Agris drone, I should say, it just won't let you fly. And if you don't have access to that calibration point, and you need to have the drone stationary, as in motors not running, in that point. So it can't be just a point, like it can't be a fence post, for example, that you just sort of walk up to and recalibrate. So one of the tricks that I sometimes use is between two gate posts. If you've got the gate post here and a gate post there, usually they're pretty flat. You can put the aircraft on that position, calibrate, and then you can move your fill point just by changing your home point in the remote control once you start. And once you've calibrated that one and you've got the RTK running, it's going to remain true to earth for as long as that RTK and the remote control are on. Okay, if we generate our 3D flight path now, just all right. Let's have a look how this is going. All right, you can see our 3D flight path. As we just let it rotate around, we can zoom in. You can see this is our point cloud. We got a nice tree here. It's not beautifully rendered, but you can definitely see that it's taken in that terrain, created that 3D model. And then our 3D flight path is just being laid over top of that. So we can see these dead trees that we put in flying up and over the trees here, just following the terrain in general. If we go back to our top view now, you got a couple of options on the right hand side here, so you can toggle off display results. You can see what we've painted there. Now this obstacle sensing will, when turned off, the aircraft will use the point cloud to create the 3D flight path, and it'll just go over the obstacles. It won't try and avoid them completely. As you can see here, it's turning off over those obstacles though. So the spray system's actually not running. So we got our route altitude. We're going to go up to 4 meters for this one. It's a fairly quick job. We should be able to get it done in a good weather. It's rough terrain, so we want a bit of an extra buffer for our aircraft away from those obstacles, and especially on this height difference. So the other thing we want to do is we want to start at the top and turn downhill, which we're doing here. So that's good. And that stops the radar turning into the side of the hill and making it have to work a bit harder to assess. Our terrain follow accuracy down here is how we compromise between holding an exact altitude, say, and being more efficient. So the higher the terrain follow accuracy, the more efficient, the less efficient the flight will be, but it will maintain a more consistent terrain follow. And then your flight route width is obviously just the spacings of your swim lanes there. So we're going to bring that out to 6.5 at the 4 meters height. Oh, actually, we might run that fairly slow, so we'll bring it down to 5.5. We'll do a nice slow, sort of 3 meters per second kind of mission on this one. Now, once we're happy with that flight path, we're just going to go up here. We can either upload that to the cloud, or on the right hand side here, while that's uploading, you can just see this AG icon. That'll just send it straight to an SD card. So if you've got an SD card in the computer at the time, it'll automatically read that and send it through. Alright, that's really the basics on creating that spot spraying mission in Terra. There is so much more to cover in Terra. This is a really basic look. It should get you started though on how to use it and start to really utilize the power that Terra brings to our agri spray drones. Alright, thanks for watching. We'll put together a video of the implementation of this kind of thing. It's really not that different from most implementations on your normal route mission or fruit tree on the remote controller, but we'll get that up when we can. Again, thanks for watching. Remember, we've got a team of farmers, contractors and drone experts, so if you've got any questions, just get in contact, visit the website.